Hello, everybody. I'm going to try and give you a nutshell perspective on how I see Revelation and end times visions unfolding. As you may or may not know, I've already seen vision and shown the vision on videos, multiple videos, and tried to share them. And it depicts the harvest end time event, the end of the world, when Jesus appears. The books are open. Those that were caught up to God, the child is caught up to God in the twinkling of an eye, what's called the Rapture. Many call the Rapture. And the books are open. The book of life is open. The judgment happens. And that takes place on the last day at the end of the world on the harvest. Well, I've seen a vision of that. I have it on video. And I just want to go through Revelation 12, verse 12 right here real quick. And maybe help you understand something. Or maybe help me understand something if I don't understand it correctly. Therefore you rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. Now, many of you have probably heard that kind of passage or verse many times throughout your life, not in context, or maybe taken out of context, who knows. But that's Revelation 12, verse 12. Now, if you take a look at that and see, that says heaven, land, and sea. Much like the Marines, right? Or the Air Force or something like that. Oh yeah, the Marine Corps. So, ye heavens, but in context is rejoice, but woe to those that are in the earth and sea, for the devils come down unto you having great wrath. Now, I want to go to the trust here, which breaks down the air, sea, and land. Now, it makes so much sense to me that 14 generations of Christ, this comes about. Yes, this all takes place about 14 generations after Christ on earth, and claiming universal, supreme, and primal powers gives Boniface VIII the authority and power to create what's called papal power. So right here we have Boniface VIII, a man who is the number of the beast, laying hold and claim to everything in the air, on the heaven, and the earth, and in the sea, eventually. So he sets up the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, and in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, not John. John doesn't mention it, neither does the book of Revelation. So this guy Boniface VIII, when you dig into it, is claiming not God or the Holy Spirit gave him this authority, but universal, supreme, and primal power. Well, that's the beast, the devil, the dragon, isn't it? So they're not claiming God gave them this power and authority, are they? At least to my understanding and knowledge, okay? Not only that, he's the eighth and he's the seventh king, because he's the last of the seven kings who sets up the line of Antichrist, the vicars of Christ, because in this trust that they created is controlled by the Pope and all his successors. Appointees would be the successor, because basically the Pope crowns his successor, right? And no Pope can undo another Pope. Now, Pope Francis is changing a lot of that. And anyway, we also, to make it short, we have, the New World discovered, and then all the stupid stuff, the Copernican theories burned. But we also had the Protestant Reformation right after this all takes place, in this 150 years here, or 230 years. Not only that, the plague broke out early in the 1300s. By 1350, it killed 25 million men, nearly one-third or one-quarter of the population of the world. Plague with no vaccine. Boniface VIII. Well, after the Protestant Reformation, everybody fled Europe into the Americas, didn't they? The Protestants knew Boniface and the popes was the line of vicars of Christ, the false Christ, the Antichrist, and the abomination of desolation being set up in the Roman Catholic Church. So if you're Catholic, you've been hijacked, okay? Now this took place 700 something years ago, right? And a beast rose up out of the sea, and a beast rose up out of the land. The Spanish king, Queen Isabella, had jurisdiction over all lands. That's why she sent forth Christopher Columbus, right? And that's why South American Caribbean countries had Spanish viceroys and courts in the 1800s. They were ruled through the Spanish king, but the Spanish king lost that somehow because Washington, D.C. now has it. Revolutionary War, 1776. That's why North America doesn't speak Spanish either, and because everybody from Europe fled, because they knew they saw the abomination of desolation standing in a temple or where it ought not to. A person, a man, beast, 666, claiming dragon gives them the power and authority to lay claim to everything in the air and the heaven, living and dead, spirits and angels and demons and ideas. And it's controlled by him and his successors. And they went forth to make war and conquer and make desolate. 1302, 700 years. This is Mystery Babylon. So the USA exercises all the power of the first beast because we use the same legal system and same rituals as 17th century London did, where it all originated. That's why you swear with the right hand, pledge to the flag, and things like that. And we have a barratry system, British accredited regent bar, barratry. So we're under the sea jurisdiction. We've been press ganged into dual citizenship through Washington, D.C. You're made a dual citizen of the sea and of the land through Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is one hub, one independent international city-state. It's its own country. It's its own nation, ruling many. So it is one part of the empire of the city, Mystery Babylon, which is divided into three parts: air, sea, and land. Washington, D.C. rules the land jurisdiction and also operates defensive services for the entire thing. I hope some of the stuff in history now starts to make sense, like the genocide of the natives, Laotians, and Middle Eastern people, and so on and so forth. And then we leave them loads of cash and money, right, and weapons. Well, it all serves God's will, I know this, because the Battle of Armageddon is about to take place, if you ask me. And that happens just right at the end, too, in the vision, at the appearing of the Lord. So when he appears and wipes them out, I guess we get changed also. Others get resurrected from the sea, the land, and we're caught up, changed in the twinkling of an eye, and there will be in heaven rejoicing, while all those who are still on the earth and in the sea are getting the wrath of God after we've left. Because what comes after that is the wrath of God, the seventh seal, and God's wrath is poured out without measure and without mixture, with no pity, no remorse. And if you're here when that happens, well, you're going to get burned up with everything, thrown in the lake of fire. I've seen the vision. I'm not trying to boast of myself. I'm just trying to let folks know. If you don't know, you should know. I hate to see anybody go in the lake of fire because I failed to warn them.